Yeah, we're live.
We're live somewhere. Maybe not.
Hold on, let me check. Yeah, still alive.
It's the same every week. Are we live yet? Okay, we're live on Facebook. Why are we not live on? There we are. Turn the volume down. Oh my goodness. Okay, we are live in both places.
Excellent.
Okay, here's what I'm going to do. Hey, Janet. Okay, I'm going to actually smudge. I was not going to do that, but you know how the guides are.
Yeah.
So, in honor of Johnny from Tarot's Apprentice, who always has smudge burning in front of his camera, I'm going to do some smudging. So, welcome, welcome, welcome. This is my really good friend, Andee, that I get to play with today.
Looking forward to it.
And I'm Jodi. And this is the half an hour earlier version of Alchemical Wisdom, which will be the normal 4 o'clock time every Sunday. Oh, yes. 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 So with this smudge, I ask that any energy other than love is removed from the field, the planet, and anything related to the planet. And we're going to bless it and put it in a big Ziploc bag and send it to Source and refill with more love and beauty. So the heater will probably turn on. I usually turn it off when I do these because it's like 25 degrees outside.
Ooh,
There was snow on my deck this morning.
amazing. That's cool.
Well, and it was funny because it was like, oh yeah, snow out so I can take pictures. Man, it was just cold and ugly. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it looked like somebody spit snow and then it was gone.
Well, we've gone from 70s and 80s to now we're in the 20s. I can't figure this weather.
Yeah, this is the cold front. Hey, at least it's not Snowmageddon. I'll take it.
Gosh, yes. Don't need another of that.
No, we don't need that again. And I just dropped my phone. That's not a good thing to do. Okay, it didn't go off. So now that we've smudged in, I'm gonna read from I got it right this time. From the Alchemical Wisdom book by the founder of Omega Center. The heart experiences emotion at the sight of beauty, whereas the soul experiences emotion when it is faced with light. The heart experiences emotion at the sight of beauty, whereas the soul experiences emotion when it is faced with light. So we get light and beauty, two very high frequency, wonderful energies. And I think I'm going to start as you guys come in. I'm going to start with music. Okay, when I go into the music, I have to change the sound settings or you will not hear any music.
Okay.
So that is what I'm doing now. Ba-doo, ba-doo, ba-doo. And my wind chimes that are blowing, they start when the north wind comes in. They've been blowing all day.
I can hear them in the background.
Yeah, they're like right out that window. Which my bedroom is on the north window, and I'm like, whoa, when it's 25 degrees outside, it is cold in that room with the heat. Hello, Jeannie. I love that name. And Paisley. Hi. Okay, heart math.
Is that a Bowie song?
Is it a Bowie song? I don't know.
Gene.
Oh yeah, you're right. Okay, hand on heart center or heart. And just start with breath. Be present to your breath. Drop the breath deeper into your lungs, into your heart chakra, into heart activation, breath. And as we play the F bowls, the heart chakra note, we breathe a little deeper. So we're breathing the energy of 2022. Here we are. Sacred air, sacred breath. And as you breathe, go into heart consciousness and find something that you're grateful for. And breathe into that frequency. And then breathe the gratitude and the breath from your heart center up into your head. Your heart is gently spiraling up into your head and inviting it to join the sacred dance of head-heart connection. And as they come into harmony and coherence, breathe that frequency through your entire body, around your body in a beautiful sphere. And if you have any left over after you drink fully from that well of harmony, broadcast that out into the field as an offering. And then gently make your way, fully breathing, back out here. And I'm going to change the sound back so we don't echo. I know I can't see you guys on the screen because I have to go into one, but I gather you can see me. So, because I'm playing with Andee, can't blow these dang things. Oh, there we go. You got to get the right side. Andee is one of my inner child's most favorite people to play with.
My kiddos love you too. Like they get that squeak whenever they see it.
So I had to find the pinwheels for today. Hey, Kathy. Oh my goodness. Welcome, welcome. New year. We made it. And Andee's Wi-Fi came back up after yesterday, so she made it.
We had to kick 2021 to the curb and all of its problems. Ouch.
Bye. So, Andee, I'm going to show off your pictures first.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
And God, how long have we known each other? It's got like a bazillion lifetimes.
I'm like, that's a trick question.
That's a trick question. Well, I looked at one of these pictures and the date on it is 2015. And I'm like, that's a long time ago.
Yeah. It's been a hot minute.
It's been a hot minute. Yeah. Andee is a tarot card reader who has not read Lentil, who has not been online yet doing this like some of the rest of you. And I have been honored as she designs her personal deck of Alice in Wonderland tarot cards to be the recipient of a few of the prints. And this, I had to cheat and look it up. This is the star.
That's the star. Yeah.
I like the way it's glowing like a star right off the painting.
Well, there's that. And there's also, that part in Alice in Wonderland where she stretches and her head sort of spirals up into the trees.
Uh-huh.
I have this one where her head is sort of spiraling up and becoming the star.
Okay.
And then with the background of all the constellations behind her.
Exactly. So this is one I have. This one lives downstairs in the gong room.
Mm.
And this one I put in my guest room. The Queen of Pentacles, I believe.
Yes, that's the Queen of Pentacles. And so you have the opposites there of the destructive queen versus the life-giving queen. So you've got one side is bereft of any kind of life, and then she's just blowing life into the rest of it, and from her imagination imbuing life in front of her.
Yes. So I posted Andee's website at the top of the StreamYard live chat, and I'll put it in both places. She's got pictures of these on the top of the website, and the prints are for sale. And I'm like, ooh, I like that one. Ooh, I like that one. Ooh, I like that. And I'm looking forward to the deck. So
when I get it finished, I've got all of the majors are done,
yeah.
And I am working on the court cards, and then I'll go into the pips.
And I'll learn how to do tarot yet, right? That could be a few more lifetimes.
I think it's a blast. It's so much fun.
I know it is. I love being the recipient of tarot.
Yeah.
So, tell us just a little bit about, besides tarot, what you do in your sacred work.
Whew. Well, okay. So let me start with a story.
Oh, goody.
So that's the best way to enter is through storytelling. I had a teacher one time explain to us a message that really sunk in and I've kept with me. And she was talking about this like imaginary hourglass, right? And the sand dribbled through, and the sand that was in the bottom of the hourglass is everything that we know, right? All the stuff that we know. And then up in the like kind of top part of the V, there's like things that we don't know, but at least we know we don't know them. Like we have kind of an inkling that they might be there. We just don't know them yet. And then beyond that, in the big part of the top of the hourglass is this vast amount of things that we don't even know we don't know. And at the neck, right there, pulling one grain through from one side into the other are the scientists, the spiritualists, and the artists. And I loved that. And in this lifetime, I have been blessed to be able to experience what it's like to be a little bit of all three.
Yeah.
And so that's what I do. My artwork and the tarot kind of are that artistic, spiritual side. And then the scientific side of me, was a really good lab rat for a while. I love I can mix chemicals with the best of them in a laboratory. But at the present moment, I have shifted that from the knowledge of chemicals to the knowledge of the brain. And I do therapy, mostly with people that have a trauma history. And goodness knows, in this last 2 years, all of us, everybody worldwide has been experiencing this trauma event. And so there's just a lot of need for help out there. And that's what I've been trying to do, is to guide through all of this muck and mess that's
Mhm.
been clouded in front of us.
Yeah. What a beautiful way to frame it. Thank you.
You're
I
welcome.
haven't heard that story. So, Sharon, what's going on in Texas since Andy's sitting in Texas and I
Yeah, what are we
moved?
doing here?
What's going on down there? Help.
Right.
I'm like, what did I miss? Texas, you checking in here?
I don't know.
I don't know what's going on. Is it? Oh my God! The sun just came out for the first time today.
Oh,
Oh, I
nice.
wish I had something I could aim out that window. That's pretty. There's probably a rainbow out there somewhere. This is the kind of, black clouds with the sun. Ooh, that's
Mhm.
pretty. Okay, so I don't know what's going on in Texas, but Arkansas is looking pretty good. Maybe it'll get out of the 20s.
Well, we were like I said, we were in the 70s and the 80s even, and then
Mhm.
all of a sudden it dropped down into the 20s. And so
Yeah,
we lit our fire today for the first time. We had had like a pretty big storm come through. There was a lot of big rain, and
yeah,
it cleared
yeah,
away, and it just got cold, which
yeah.
finally winter showed up. I don't know for how many days it's planning on being here, but winter has come.
Okay, Benny Grismore asks for prayers to Texas. I am not sure. We need to research that when we're done here. I don't know what's going on down there,
Mm-mm.
down in the ex home I used to live in. Um, look that up. So, are you going to do some tarot for us for the new
I
year?
sure could. Yeah.
And
What
can you
would you
show
like?
off those pretty round things that you showed me?
Oh, yes. So I have been looking like the last time we did this, and I did some tarot reading for you in one of these like little forums that we
Mhm,
chatted in. Um, when I'm looking at my cards, I prefer the Thoth deck. It like resonates with me really well. So I was,
mhm,
was reading from that. And you had said it's interesting how specific you can get with like dates and times on that, because that's kind of unusual. I haven't been able to get that specific. And I was like,
mhm,
yeah, I kind of resonate with that. But I thought about it more. It didn't leave my mind. And I was bouncing around on Etsy, and I found, what is it? Frenchie's Customs Shop that
mhm,
makes these like engraved acrylic pieces, and it's got the months of the year around the outside edge, and then it's got the alphabet and the numbers around the next sphere, days of the week around the next one. And then if you need to be more specific with your questions, it says yes or no or maybe, or rephrase that
mhm,
for
mhm,
use with a pendulum. So while you're doing your tarot reading, you can get more specific with the time. And then I also found this one, which is more of a mat. It's got like kind of a rubberized back to it, which holds it in place. And this one's from Divination Apothecary on Etsy. And it's got actual tarot cards around the outside edge. And then it's got the pips numbers for each one of the pips in here of the four suits. And then it goes into yes, no, and more specifics. So it's like you can, if you don't have the cards with you, you can use this with your pendulum to pick the
mhm.
cards that you need, which is kind of cool too.
That's very cool.
So
Thank
I
you.
thought I'd play with that today.
You're gonna play with that today.
So
Yeah,
what?
plastic Ouija board. Yeah, thank you, Janet. That's exactly what I thought. It was like a little pendulum Ouija board.
Right? Yeah, the ones in the middle, that yes, no rephrase thing with the letters and the numbers, definitely
Mhm,
taken
mhm.
from some of that Ouija stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
Hopefully with a little better energy.
I've never played with a Ouija board. I've always been fascinated, but it's like one of those things I haven't ever put my fingers on.
I had one and intuitively knew not to touch it.
Mm,
I wouldn't use it, which was
yeah,
interesting.
that is interesting.
Yeah. Now the magic 8 ball, on the other hand.
Hell yeah.
That
All
was
about that sucker.
I know. I still remember that thing.
Oh gosh, didn't we all have one? Everybody had one of those.
Yeah, we
Oh,
do always want answers, and the Ouija boards, I think, were not of the highest good, from what I understand. was like, I don't think I'm touching this one. Excuse me while I adjust my fuzzy blanket that I'm sitting under. Okay.
Okay.
It's cold
This
in
is
here.
a good day to get cozied up under some nice, comfy, fuzzy blankets.
Yeah.
All right, so I've shuffled my deck. Should we do like a down and dirty 3-card draw?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do
What
it.
question are you drawing on? What are we talking about?
What do we need to know from the cards, maybe, for 2022?
Okay, I like that.
Anybody have any other ideas for other possible draws?
And if you do, just type them in and I will highlight one of those.
Okay. All right. Let me spread them out here and see what we get. Ooh, that one's tingly. Where is it? Come here. Right in here. That's the one. Okay. The Ace of Swords. That's the first one. That one was really tingly. Let me pick out 2 more. Right in here. Yeah, this one. This one is the 7 of Swords reversed. Getting a lot of swords.
Mm-hmm.
Right here. And the 8 of Pentacles, or in this, the Toth deck is the 8 of Discs, but it was also reversed. So, swords, the Ace of Swords, of course, that's the first one in the suit.
Mm-hmm.
And the power of the ace is that it's like the beginning, the culmination of everything that the suit means. So we're talking the intellect, cutting through indecisiveness and piercing through the questions and finding those answers, like all of that culminating. And you have the one big sword that is literally crowned at the top. I don't know if you can see that, but it's got a crown of light at the top of it, so that all of that intellect, all of that awareness, that mindfulness comes through and sits on your crown. So like being able to really trust what you know. There's that one. That's the Ace of Swords. Kind of the clouds are parting and the information's coming through. So be ready.
So for this year, we'll get clearer information.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Good.
The next one is the 7 of Swords here. And on the Toth deck, they have this interesting thing that they do with the pips is they give you a word at the bottom. And this one is, the word is futility.
Huh.
And so this one was reversed. So in that sense, looking at your ideas and your plans and those intents, which is probably really important for right now since we're in the new moon. And so this is intent setting time, putting that energy out there to really make sure what you're setting as your intent is clear. Make sure that it is, I would just say be wary of the way you word it, because the universe will give you what you ask for, but maybe not in the way you wanted. So a wicked sense of humor that way. So, like clarifying that so that you don't end up chasing your own tail, so that it doesn't become a futile experience. We want this year to really give us some forward momentum to break through some of the stagnation we've been feeling. Yeah. And the Swords is a great way to cut through that stagnation and move forward, thoughtfully. Just do the planning. It kind of brings to mind, I don't know if you ever saw that old movie, Darby O'Gill and the Little People. And so Darby McGill, he captures the king of the leprechauns. And they're like, oh, Darby, what are you going to wish for now that you've got the king of the leprechauns to grant you your 3 wishes? And he says, oh, well, I could have wished for the big old house, but I wouldn't have asked for the money to help me keep up the house. So there I'd be the poorest church mouse in the house. And I'm not going to ask for that. And I could ask for the crock of gold, but then that would mean that I would get, and he kind of goes through this like string of things that he could wish for, but he's not going to, because there's that flip side, that balance side of it.
Right.
And so that's
And-
this.
and
No
that's-
catch up in futility.
There are a lot of people who set intentions that way. I've seen it. I've seen it. I ask people to give me an intention before a healing session, and I often get one word back, which is not an intention. That's just a word. It's a theme word, So, like we were doing yesterday. Theme word.
Right.
So get clear.
Yeah. Work up here first.
Get clear.
And everything, starts in the imagination. Yeah. We wouldn't have these like wonderful little contraptions here if we hadn't started in our imagination. Somebody had to imagine it first before we could make it a reality. So get clear up here, have that mental clarity, so that when you bring it into manifestation, that's what you were intending. And then the last one is the Eight of Pentacles. And the word that comes with this is prudence, which is, again, and both of those the 7 of Swords and this 8 of Discs came reversed. So it's like really close attention to how it can come and kind of kick you in the butt, right? So it's be prudent in what you're setting. Discs, Pentacles is usually wealth. And we tend to immediately go to wealth as in things that have monetary value, right? Show me the money. Wealth, true value, lies in a vast array of things. Your wealth in your health is critical. The wealth that you have, the value that you have in your relationships is sometimes the most important thing that you can have in your life, One person can mean so much and change outcomes so much, just having that connection. So when you're talking about the discs and setting those intentions for what your wealth is, clarify again what it is you mean. Get more specific, draw down into that. What do you truly value? Because it's one thing to say these paper notes that, are they attached to anything? They used to be attached to gold, right? There was a gold standard. We got rid of that. I don't know. I think it's like wishful thinking anymore. Like if we feel good, then it means more. But, like everybody feels good about how the market's going. So the market's going well, and everybody starts to worry about it, and it starts to get shaky. So it's really set anymore, I think, on well wishes, so when you're kind of digging into what is your value and what is your wealth, make sure you're balancing it on something that's solid, that solid foundation. Be prudent about it.
Well, and I was working with somebody this morning in a session, and there was an illustration of how so much of what we may intend or value is outer referenced rather than inner referenced.
Right here.
And and it was like, okay, if all of that doesn't count, what's left? What's left on the inside? What's in the heart center? And if this and this don't work out the way you think you want it, why are you doing it? Kind of thing. Because a lot of people are easy to sway and distract by the outer referencing that's going on.
Right. Well, it brings to mind too, like the stock market crash in the 1920s. That was horrendous, and people were jumping out of windows, and it was truly life or death. But if you think about it, and I think this is something Alan Watts brought up, were there less cows the day after the stock market crashed than there were the day before? Was there less food? Was there less apples on trees? Was there less of anything? No, not really.
It was perception. Yeah. Yeah, we create reality through our perception.
Yeah.
So, Benny, what town are you in down in Texas? He's talking about ERCOT, our dear friend ERCOT. I actually moved up here to Arkansas the week after Snowmageddon. It's when I got up here. So and there was 2 feet of snow up here.
Mm.
Nothing shut down, which was interesting. Um, and I think this is sort of funny. I lived in Plano, which is right above Dallas,
Yeah.
and I lived in a triangle of the sewage treatment plant and 2 fire departments, and they decided not to turn those off, and I'm in the middle. I was like,
Good
oh, thank you. I did not lose electricity, which was interesting because it's like, they had choice on who they turned this off on.
That's right.
So,
That is right.
yeah, he's saying that there are people saying they're buying. Basically, if it happens again, nothing has changed since last year. It's probably gotten worse, and
Be prepared.
many of us shamanic types, me included, have gotten that East Texas area, 45 minutes from Dallas. Yeah, so I was up in Plano, more north than east. There's a lot of resonance that this could probably happen again. I mean, we were Virgie Ravenhawk. Do you know Virgie?
Mhm.
Yeah, she and I both got that it was going to happen again right away. It's like, whoa, be prepared.
Yeah,
So,
I definitely don't doubt that, and we were actually out there testing our generators this afternoon,
were
like,
you
going
really?
out, after the storms had cleared through, we, like, pulled them out, like, get the gas going in them, make sure they're all fueled up, ready to go, just in case,
Well,
just checking on it.
and I mean, this kind of weather shift, and that's funny. I live in a 26,000 acre gated retirement community that's open to all ages. If you like sacred paradoxes, and it's funny to be on Nextdoor app when the weather gets cold, because there are people that are like, I am going to heat my house to 84, and I'm like, it's 25 degrees out there. People do not blow the electricity. I've been running around all day saying thank you for being able to get the house to 66. I mean,
Mhm.
really, with that kind of temperature spread, because I know in Texas when it was really really hot, the AC people would say you can only cool it to 20 degrees cooler than what it is outside without blowing your system.
Mhm.
And it's
Yeah,
like, okay, I would imagine heat works the same way. So,
right. Well,
but
and
yeah.
the other thing about that too is, I saw this meme that was running around on Facebook. It's like, if you could get rid of one thing in the world from 2021, what would you get rid of? And I saw somebody answered greed, and I was like, good answer.
Yeah,
You know,
because
thoughtful.
there's enough
Yes. If we
to take
share.
care of if we share.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, I just hang on. Somebody just there's a question. There's a question. Let me get this
Aha.
out of here. How do we set specific intentions when we have multiple things we want to manifest that maybe aren't related? I feel like my list would take all day. see
Good.
if you can okay, see if you can find a theme, um, and then set multiple intentions. I mean,
I
I've
had
done that.
somebody, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I had somebody give me a really good idea because we were talking
Hmm.
about vision boards. I don't know if
Hmm.
you've done vision boards
Oh
before, but
yeah.
you get the magazine out and you cut pictures
Yep.
out of things that you want, and you like glue it to a piece of poster board, right? And you've got
Hmm.
your
Hmm.
vision board to kind of set a visual intent on, right? But
Yeah.
they were like, what if we did a manifestation board? And the twist was, instead of gluing it down and making it permanent and non detachable, pinning it to like a cork board. And then you've got several different things. And as they manifest, then you go, okay, that one's manifested, take it off, put a new one up.
Oh, I like that.
So then
So
you can really
yeah.
focus intently on a variety of things and have it be specific.
Yes, and have it be moving art.
Mhm.
I like
Yeah.
that.
And plus validation too,
Mhm.
like, hey, I saw that that one actually came through, popping it off,
Yeah,
and now I'm going to put a new one up.
yeah, yeah. I have a prosperity, manifestation corner, the feng
Mhm.
shui bagua,
Yeah.
which it's always in a weird room. It's in my laundry room. And there's this big window with a big ledge. So I have a whole altar there. And the view is the freaking lake. So, it's like I've got crystals. And I mean, it's just, I keep folding laundry with the lake.
And little sparklies flying all over.
I have sparkles all over the place. And I have this beautiful blown glass goblet that I somehow acquired 25 years ago and it hasn't broken. And I just write things down on pieces of paper for me and others and stick them in the jar. And I'll go through it occasionally and go, ooh, already manifested. So I'm doing it without the visual. I like the idea of the visual, of having pictures of stuff. But who has magazines?
I know, right? Trip to Barnes and Noble.
Man, I used to do vision boards all the time.
Yeah. I did too. That was just like a thing. It was kind of like, instead of setting my resolutions for the new year, I'd set my visions for the new year. But I really like the twist of that manifestation board.
I do too. Well, and it's just it's like anything. If we have an artistic, beautiful piece in front of us, we're going to pay attention to it.
Yeah,
we're going to pay attention to it. I don't think we're allowed more than one.
Right. Yeah. I mean, again, the universe has like kind of that wicked sense of humor. And I didn't learn that for a while, because for the longest time I kept asking for patience. I said, I just need more patience. If I could be more patient, that would be great. And the universe kept giving me more sons. And I was like, okay, got it. I don't need enough more reasons to be patient. I'm done. Got it.
No
Learned.
more boys.
Done. Down.
Well, and the part, Andee was in the workshop that I do every 1st of January until the Wi-Fi broke down yesterday. And my word, this is a workshop that I learned from a friend in Canada. She'd been doing it for 15 years when I met her, and I've done it for 20 years. And the journey, one of the journeys is to receive, not figure out, but to receive a theme word for the year. And there are some years where it's like, yeah, that one resonates. I like that one. And then there are years like this one yesterday where I'm like, WTF? Like, why did you give me that word? Like, huh? This old crone got the word fertility. And I'm like, huh? I almost, because it's funny, because I'm channeling the journey, with the Hathors, and then I'm listening to the human get the answer, and I'm just busted out laughing in the middle of the journey. Like, does not compute. I'm sorry. Smoke coming out of my ears. But for me, and it's interesting with how do you set specific intentions when you have multiple things? For me, the fertility theme is very much about expansive manifestation. And it's not a word. I mean, I don't have kids. I did not have a bunch of boys or girls or anything. I don't even have a dog anymore. So, it was just sort of like, what a weird word to work with for a year at my age in my life. So it's going to be an interesting challenge.
Well, I
Really
mean,
interesting.
You were showing the Queen of Pentacles that I had done as the artwork, and that is a beautiful card of fertility. Where you take something that is seemingly lifeless, it's a rock, right? And again, with Alan Watts, this rock peopled, like if we would have visited it, a billion years ago, it's just a rock, but now it's peopled. So life can be created. There can be fertility on a thing that looks like it's bereft of all life.
Yeah.
So that's,
and I'm living on a lake. I mean, I live on the lake for the next year. I mean, that's fertility. Water for me is fertility and just birth of. So yeah, it was just, I mean, yesterday was really funny because it was like, I got one of those words. I don't get it.
reframe.
Well, and it's funny because I probably have 100 oracle and tarot card decks. I got all they're all over the house now.
Oh yeah.
And I am working with a couple who are wanting to get pregnant. And when I started working with them, I went through every freaking deck I have to find a fertility card. One.
Really?
One sacred geometry deck has a fertility card. Nothing else does. And it was just like, that's weird. So yeah, and it's very much about birthing creations, whether they're children or not.
Yeah. Well, what about the Empress? The Empress in the majors is supposed to be the fertility card.
Is she the fertility? Okay.
Because she's got the big round belly in most demonstrations of her. She's
okay. So I'm going to go pull all the Empress cards out of my tarot decks for me and for these clients.
There you go.
Take pictures. Here's your vision board.
Right. Put these little pin it up there so that you can take it down when you get it.
Well, I pull cards for them on the manifestation altar. I've done that, and send them pictures. So I'm just like, I got their word. How did this happen?
Well, like that old cliche, oh, that's my baby, like in the business meeting, hey, whose baby was that? That was my baby. That was my idea. Fertility and birthing are not, it's a creative process, and it is what you make it to be.
It is. Birthing creativity, being on Mother Earth. Yeah, I mean, I moved up here to get to the country to be with, oh, that's funny. The guides are, and the mouthy ones just pointed something out. I get to be here for the time that my hummingbirds return.
Yes.
From the warm country.
Pictures of those.
And not ever having had the honor of being a mother in this lifetime, when I started reading up on what the process was for the migration of ruby-throated hummingbirds, because that's who had nests all around the house, I found out that in the migration process, the males leave first. They had already left. The female adults leave next, and all the kids leave last. Okay, so here, in this picture works really well that you did. So I'm looking at that going, oh my God, they're going to leave their kids with me. What do? I don't know how to take care of kids. And I mean, I'm out there. I've got like 50 flowering plants on this deck. I've got, go get double the bird feed. These poor birds. By the time they left, I'm playing Tibetan bowls for them. I'm like, if I got to send you off, you're going to be fat, happy, and well-tuned.
That is great. Well, I mean, and even now you got the crows out there going, hey, lady, where's my food?
Yeah, they were out this morning. They actually said thank you this morning because it was frozen out there. I mean, I'm tiptoeing, trying not to and the crows are like, ooh, she fed us. Yeah. Yeah, I tend to respond really well to animals going, hey, it is time for food.
Right now.
But yeah, but it'll be funny when my grandkid birds left, the next batch that came down from the north, they were half the size, teeny tiny, undernourished. And I'm just out there like, like this mom going, I'm sorry, you were not fed right. Get more food, get more feeders.
It's like that Italian grandma. Here, let me feed you. And come in here.
Let me feed you. Play bowls for them. They stuck around really long. It was really, yeah. Okay, I get to be the grandma. They'll probably all come back.
That's right, because they know where the energy and the food is, and
they know. Well, and I still have flowers blooming because I brought them into my house. My coleus plants. If you ever want pollinator flowers for bees and hummingbirds, let your coleus plants in pots bloom. They're long, long purpley blue stalks that every animal loves to feed off of. And who knew, right? And when I put them out, when we have something besides 25-degree temperatures like out there right now, there is a honey bee person on this lake, because I've had his honey before. His bees come over to hang out with the coleus plants. They're just like somebody has flowers in the winter.
Yeah.
I know.
Tasty honey.
Oh my God, the honey. Yeah, I know. I'm like, here, let me feed you organic flowers. This will be even better honey.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, that's right. Yeah.
Well, and it's funny, I used to see pictures of bees sleeping in flowers. Seen photographs of that. Yeah. I've seen it I have a second story deck. That's my pollinator garden. I have shrimp plants, which are these, I swear they're from a different planet, bizarro creatures.
They kind of build on, the little spikelets. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're bizarre. So I have those plants in a greenhouse in the garage. They're still blooming. They're all very confused. And I literally I think 3 times ago, when I could bring them out and wheel them back in, I found one of those honey bees nestled in a shrimp plant asleep. It was so cute. Like, can I get you anything? What do you need? I'm going to take care of you. You're a pollinator.
Yeah. When I go out in the spring and I'm like walking around the lake and stuff, like I look for the flowers and try and take little pictures of bee butts, like backing up. That's the best.
That's fun. That's the best picture.
Little bee butts.
So, I got questions now.
Ooh.
Alchemical wisdom questions. And the first one: when you go into your heart, as opposed to the linear computer, why did you pop in on the planet at this time?
That's a good question. Is that a question for everybody, or are you asking me?
It is for you.
Oh, okay.
Your question.
Okay.
Why did you choose to show up at this time?
The answer I got is because I was needed.
Yeah. Okay.
Short and sweet and to the point, right?
Okay. What frequency did you bring with you?
It feels like it's here. It's not quite to the Dantian, and it's not quite up to the heart. It's sort of between them, maybe joined with them. So like between the polarity and the battle, and moving into love frequency, like trying to shift those two. It's somewhere in there.
One of my healers, Adrienne Goff, who's a crystal healer, she's fun. She always does stone readings with that spot when she's doing the whole chakra system. It's really powerful. Yeah, that's that exact same spot. She has a name for it, which I can't remember, but yeah, that exact spot. So with your frequency and with your presence on the planet, how do you change it?
Well, I'm going to have to go to my Post-it note on this one, and I think this is last year. Do you remember when you gave me this one, when you gave me the word life? I think that was last year. And it said, I grow life by raising consciousness. I think that's what I do. It seemed a little lofty and a little kind of sassy at the time, but, I've had a year to sink into it. I think that's probably true. The work that I do, it's so deep. It's at such a deep level, and helping people with not the superficial stuff, like the really getting into it and making some real changes in their life kind of stuff, clearing away all that muck that settles from past experiences and becomes like a tar, having to like that up and out, and work through it. Yeah, I mean that takes conscious effort, and that's how it changes. That's how that frequency changes.
And it is needed.
Oh gosh,
needed.
yeah.
Okay, let's see. I'm actually, one of those questions was actually on my list. I'm just channeling questions now. Aren't you lucky? Okay. Don't mind me. I'm having a really good time over here.
Like, I'm having a great time myself.
Ancient alchemy transmuted lead into gold. The human heart transmutes shadow into light with alchemical intention. How has that shown up in your life?
Oh my goodness, I love the shadow work. I don't veer away from it. I lean into it.
Yeah.
My goodness, Alan is coming up a lot today. So
I love
Alan
Alan
Watts,
Watts.
I
Yeah.
love him, right? He had this thing that he talked on how we shove everything in our bag. And so like we do a thing and then we get feedback on it. Oh no, little Johnny, you can't do that. And little Johnny shoves that in his bag. And oh no, Johnny, that's not how you draw that. And he shoves that in his bag, and gets all this feedback, right? And oh, you should do this and you shouldn't do that. And so we sort and sort and sort, and we end up stuffing everything into our bag. And I think when you get to adulthood, part of the work of the life is going back into that bag, that we've been labeling it shadow and stuff we shouldn't do, and realizing that sometimes we've shoved away some of the best parts of ourselves because somebody told us not to. That's not good. And so we shoved it away and we believed we weren't good. And so we have to kind of dig it back out again and go, okay, with clear eyes, with clarity, let me look at it and see how it fits with my own value system, not somebody else's, not external pressure, my own.
Right. I, as you were talking, I was Googling and searching for something, and I did remember it right. Back in the early sobriety, I sobered up 36 years ago. This is going to sound really weird. I worked for the Austin Men's Center. My therapist was in the men's center, and she was a woman. And Robert Bly was very much a mentor of the men's work at that time. And I didn't know who Alan Watts was then, but I knew the guy, the Robert Bly version. He has a book, which is one of the first shadow work books I read, A Little Book on the Human Shadow. And now, when you're talking about Alan Watts, he was obviously a fan of Alan Watts because he used that same metaphor of dragging this bag of shadows behind us that was so heavy and so hard to move around because most humans are very afraid to look at it or they will not admit they have any.
Right.
And
that's true.
Back around that time, I got into crystals. Definite affliction here. Somewhere in this house, don't know where, somewhere in this house, I have my original black obsidian that I would use to illustrate the reason to do shadow work. And I also have a very large chunk of black obsidian that I can find. It's upstairs in the sunroom. But obsidian, the black one is maybe about this big, and when you hold it in your hand, it is just opaque black glass. You can't see anything, and that's shadow. Ooh, and it's sharp, and it can cut you, and ooh, stay away from it. And when you take it and hold it to the sun, there's a gold flash in the middle of that obsidian. And not all pieces do that, but this one always did from the first time I bought it. And for me, that was the experience of do your shadow work. Get my hand over here.
Yeah.
And this is what you find. Your
Find the gold.
gold is in that
Mhm.
shadow. Yeah. And the one that I have up here, can't believe I found this thing. I found this recently before I left Texas. It's about this big and just pitch black. It's black obsidian. And you can't see through it, it's too thick. But when you get it in the light, it's the same color as my purple tree. It's purple. It's purple. And then there's a little crescent moon that is in the stone. I mean, it's the wildest thing I've
That's
ever
so
seen.
cool. Oh,
I didn't even know they made purple obsidian. But for me, it's like, okay, my shadow's gotten a little different over the years.
mhm,
It's now purple.
yeah.
So yeah, shadow work. I mean, it's an interesting topic because being trained in shadow work from the get-go, and we called it psychodrama back then, not shadow work. That wasn't quite
Right.
invented yet. Um, Being trained in that from sobriety and therapy on, embracing shadow in that process is fun
It is.
for me. And I have run into so many clients. Yes, that was Austin, Texas, Judith. That's where I sobered up. It was a great town to sober up in. Um, that the I have run into people in my healing practice because I do shamanic work around trauma, and I have met people who disown that there's any shadow in them. And and it's like, okay, back away slowly. And it was interesting because I sobered up in Austin and remained in Texas for God knows how many years after that. Went
Mhm.
back to California for 3 months that extended to 10 years because I was on a mountain, didn't want to leave.
Yep.
My Lakota teacher would call me up and go, "Get your butt off the mountain. We need you down here." I think I'll chase butterflies for a while longer. Thank you very much. There's trees up here.
Yeah. Stay on my
Yeah.
mountain.
I don't, you can't make me. He was in Texas. Um, but there were people, when I went back to Texas, I came back with my ancient Tibetan bowls, which I met in California. And I was the first traveling sound healer to hit Texas. I'm the grandma,
Yeah.
16 years ago. And I was traveling full time in Texas in the Southwest for a while, and I would do sessions. And I remember, I think I was living in Austin at the time, and started running into clients that just would go, "I'm sorry, I am not willing to own that I have shadows. Don't even bring that up." And it was just like, okay, we're going to run into problems down the road, because I don't know what shifted. I mean, I don't know what shifted, but it did. And there's such verdant beauty in shadow work.
I love
The
doing it.
power's in there.
Well, and like when you go into the West, you go into the void, right? And
Oh,
that
yeah,
is the place of the shadows. That is where the ancestors are sitting
yeah,
there and speaking wisdom to you if you're not afraid to look at the shadow.
exactly. And Red Lentil Healing is on here. She and I talked about the void last night on our live
Mm.
stream. So
Yeah.
there's a reason. Well, and it just the void is unlimited possibility. And
Mhm.
if I'm disowning shadow, then I'm limiting myself and my growth and possibilities.
Well,
So
and the
Judith was
world
there
doesn't
for
work
me.
like that. We're on a world of polarity. There is a balance, and there has to be a balance. There is a shadow for every light, like it comes together. There's the whole point. And like if we're on this seesaw between the two, we want to be more towards the middle, where the fulcrum is so that it doesn't
Mhm,
wibble wobble too much. We don't want to have these huge swings,
mhm, mhm.
but we're all full of potential of those
Oh yeah.
opposites.
Oh yeah. Okay, Adrian, this is for you. It's not the same cup of tea, but I've got the same cup. Stay away from 6th
Sixth
Street.
Street. Austin folk.
You know, I sobered up so long ago. 6th Street was just sort of like watching things in zoos. You know? It was a very interesting place.
Yes. I like Austin. Austin's a pretty place. Like that little walk down by the river.
I used to jog around that.
So
Me and my
pretty.
dogs. Yeah, it was, I mean, it was pretty, and then it got crazy crowded there. That's when I moved to Wimberley. It was, I mean, I am the kind where it's like way too many humans going to the country. That's why I
Yeah.
came up here.
Yeah.
And, you know, and that's, ooh, way too many humans there going to the 400-acre ranch. That's even better. You know?
Right. Right.
Now I got my crows back. So we have a couple of minutes left.
Okay.
Would you like to pull a card? Does anybody have a question out there? We can pull a card on or two.
That would be great.
Somebody ask a question. First come, first serve. Let me look at that. What's in there? Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Tell us via the cards what the void has to say to us about this year.
Oh, okay. All right. Void wisdom. Give me a second. Okay. Ooh, that's it. I get the tingles real bad when I get the right card. You know, like it starts as like this electric thing in my fingers and like gets me right in the temples. Ooh, aces. We get the Ace of Cups from the void. That's
Ooh.
amazing. It's not usual that you get a bunch of aces. So of course cups are emotion, right? The watery things, the things that run, the tears, the everything that flows, all the emotions, right? And you know, and it really, 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 really could be water. You know, it could actually be water. Um, you know, after going to North Dakota and, you know, working on shutting down the pipelines and saving the water, and you know, like water is life. So those things that run, those things that give life, that's what the aces is. And of course, like with the Ace of Swords, this is where it all begins. This is the font, this is the source. And so all of that emotion that flows, really, yeah, when you're feeling things deeply, a lot of that is shadow work. A lot of that goes into the void. So that doesn't surprise me that the void would be focus on that emotional work too.
Yes, that's a big
Get
part of it.
into the source. Find out what's beneath. You know, we in psychology we talk about there being like secondary emotions and primary emotions. And a lot of times if we're not actually in fight or flight, and anger is primary in fight or flight, a lot of times we use anger to like be that secondary emotion to shield over and to
Yeah.
prevent us from going deeper and
Yes.
feeling something that's sad or full of
Yes.
grief or full
Yes.
of worry and concern, or you know, like existential dread or something like that. We don't get down underneath it, we
Yeah.
just fight about it, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
yeah,
I've seen
getting
that.
into the
Thank you.
source.
I like that. Paisley has a question
Ooh,
for the cards. What is the world vibe currently?
okay.
That's a
Let's
good
see what
question.
cards
Thank you.
have to say. Ooh, that one made me dizzy. I'm still feeling a little dissociated from that one. Ooh, we got the priestess.
Ooh.
So the story with the priestess is that she has access to like scrolls of wisdom, right? Wisdom that we don't. She's the one that holds that we don't all have immediate access to. But she's sort of like a sleeping goddess, right? She's holding that wisdom in, and we have to tap into her in order to pull that wisdom through. So it's like sort of kind of vibing into that hidden realm of knowledge. The other kind of aspect of her, it can sometimes get into those deeper emotions that we were talking about, especially the emotions of depression. So be aware of that. And I think given that we've spent the last 2 years going through a very traumatic period of time on this planet, that would make sense. So
It does.
when
Yeah.
when you're reaching into that vibe, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of sadness in that.
Yeah, there is. I've seen that too in my own work.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Johnny, if you're still on here, I'm going to close with something that we all know you like. The Koshi chimes. Andee, thank you. I'm going to close with some music and then come back and say goodbye to everybody. Okay, turn that off, turn that on. And I have 2 of them with me. Let's see, which 2 did I pick? I have air. And I have water. Perfect.
Oh.
Johnny's still here. Johnny, have yours come in yet? Ooh, these sound good together. Those things are so much fun.
They're so beautiful.
No, they really are. See, I need 4 hands so I can play all 4 of them.
So that was water and earth?
Water and air.
Water and air, okay.
Wind and water. There's been a lot of that out my window. Oh, God, that's pretty out there. I'm going to have to take some pictures. Excuse me. Ooh, look.
It's so pretty.
Gotta go take the camera, go take a picture. I guess it's been really, really gray and even like too cold to go outside, ugly all day. Thank you all for being here. If you're on YouTube, please subscribe and follow and all that fun stuff. And Andee, I love playing with you.
Me too. Love you. Thank you, everybody, for coming and listening to me and Jodi play.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for joining us on our play date. And I'll be back next week at 4:00. I've changed the time this year from 4 to 5, so as not to interfere with the Jen Lynn and Johnny and Becca show. And thank you. Yeah, Amazon does have them, and Gongs Unlimited has them. And yeah, just Google them. They're called Koshi, Koshi chimes. So happy New Year, everybody. And I will be on Jen Lynn's channel tomorrow morning at 10 with coffee for Sacred Sounds of Coffee. And we're going to be talking New Year's stuff. We're just going to be working with that, and I'll do some music. And do you have anything going on, Andee? I know you're not on YouTube, but do you have anything that you want people to know about that you're doing?
Well, I always have my website, www.andeeryan, that's with 2 E's, andeeryan.com. And, if anybody's looking for sessions or artwork or whatever, you can kind of check it out and see what there is to see.
Yeah. And I will post the website on both platforms so that people can find you.
Okie dokie. Thank you.
Love you guys. Have a wonderful new moon. I think that's tomorrow. Yay!
We're in new moon energy.
New year, new moon, new this, new that. Go to the void.